Clash of Champions 2019 will soon be upon us, with 11 matches announced and every WWE Championship on the line. Join us now as Wrestlelamia predicts all the winners for this year's Clash of Champions pay-per-view. And in case you haven't heard it, the King of the Ring tournament final is now being held on Raw instead of at Clash of Champions as originally scheduled, hence why it's not here. But let's get into what will no doubt be the kickoff match of the pay-per-view, as Cruiserweight Champion Drew GULAK takes on Humberto Carrillo and Lince Dorado. Now, despite some excellent matches involving the Cruiserweight Championship, the biggest talk right now about 205 Live seems to be the rumour the show could be incorporated and its various stars moved to NXT or elsewhere. Nonetheless, Drew GULAK has been doing a good job as a heel champion, and now he faces two new contenders in Humberto Carrillo and the Lucha House Party's own Lince Dorado. It's unfortunate that WWE doesn't promote the cruiserweights more and feels the need to constantly make title matches into triple threat matches. Still, this will no doubt be a great match, but we see Drew GULAK retaining. The next match of the night, United States Champion AJ Styles takes on Cedric Alexander. This match seemed like it came out of nowhere, as Styles could have easily worked another match against Ricochet. However, in hindsight, the WWE has been building up Cedric Alexander throughout the summer, and his tag match against AJ Styles on Raw shows he has a good chemistry with Styles. But then again, who doesn't? At this point, it doesn't make sense for Cedric to win the title, and there's more money in the chase than a surprise win. Look for AJ to retain by the skin of his teeth, more likely than not through the help of his OC teammates setting up a rematch. More than likely on Raw the next night. The next match on the card sees Intercontinental Champion Shinsuke Nakamura facing off against the A-lister The Miz. This is the story of one star rising and another falling, as Shinsuke Nakamura seems to have got a shot in the arm ever since defeating Finn Balor for the Intercontinental Championship and adding Sami Zayn as his mouthpiece. Conversely speaking, The Miz's career has been in a tailspin since his feud with Shane McMahon. Now, we have complained about The Miz not being able to play a face well, but there's something to be said for the fact that he's been on a losing streak over the last 6 months, giving fans little reason to get excited when he wrestles. Now, this should be an entertaining match as both men are excellent workers, but based on The Miz's recent performances, don't count on the WWE's A-lister winning the title. Next up, tag team action, as SmackDown Tag Team Champions The New Day of Xavier Woods and Big E take on The Revival. Now, the beauty of professional wrestling is that you never know what combination of stars can create an instant chemistry, sometimes jump-starting careers. Here, The Revival's recent alliance with Randy Orton versus The New Day has been a tremendous boost to Dawson and Wilder, propelling them into a major storyline and making them instant contenders for The New Day's tag team titles. Best of all, The Revival are more than Orton's flunkies and seem like equal partners in crime, making them all the more dangerous. This is the kind of match The Revival have been looking for pretty much since joining the main roster. A high-profile program against a team that's just as talented as they are, perhaps even more. This will give The Revival a chance to prove once and for all that they're one of the WWE's best teams, and it gives the WWE a chance to show The Revival they have faith in them as an ace team, moving them away from AEW. Look for The Revival to get the win, adding extra tension to Kofi's match against Randy Orton. Interference by the Viper that leads to a Revival win can't be ruled out either. Next up, another tag team match, but this time in the women's division, as women's tag team champions Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross take on Fire and Desire of Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose. Like Night of Champions, Clash of Champions manages to squeeze in every WWE title into the show, which is good for the fans who have been clamouring for more women's tag team championship defences. Unfortunately, the choice for Bliss and Cross's opponents shows just how little effort the WWE has been putting into the titles. Now, Fire and Desire are a competent team, but their title shot materialised out of nowhere, making this nothing to get excited about. However, to be honest, the tag titles just seem to be an added gimmick to coincide with Bliss and Cross's storyline and their eventual breakup. We predict during the match there will be a usual trope of a partner slipping up, ultimately leading to Fire and Desire capitalising on it and winning the gold. More tag team action up next, as Raw Tag Team Champions Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman take on Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode. Give the WWE Devil their due in that the company has done an amazing job making Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode seem like a viable tag team. Granted, both men are tremendous athletes, but their perpetual jobbing destroyed once promising solo careers. Here, there's the obvious tension between tag team champions who will be wrestling later in the night for the Universal Championship, and the possibility Braun Strowman will use the match to soften Rollins up for the Universal Championship match. This could be a surprisingly good match, but unfortunately, it's probably going to focus on the tension between Rollins and Strowman rather than the match itself. However, look for Roode and Ziggler to win, largely through Rollins and Strowman's dissension, and likely a heel turn by Strowman. Not the best start for Roode and Ziggler's championship reign, but at this point, they'll probably take any kind of win. Next up, Raw Tag Team Champions Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman take on the OC. Wait a minute, is Wrestlelamia in some sort of temporal loop? No. If you watched our Clash of Champions news and rumours video, you'll know that there's the distinct possibility that the OC will inject themselves into this match by taking out Ziggler and Roode, replacing them against the champions. The OC have been grumbling about not getting a rematch against Rollins and Strowman pretty much since dropping the belts, so don't be shocked if they force their way into the title scene and regain the belts. One way or another, Rollins and Strowman are gonna lose those titles. Next up, SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley takes on Charlotte Flair. If the WWE can resist the urge to turn Charlotte babyface, this should make for an excellent heel versus heel matchup. Oh wait, Bayley isn't a heel as people claim, she's just doing what's best for the SmackDown roster. The heel versus heel dynamic is interesting enough, but what really interests Wrestlelamia is whether the WWE's Hugger Mugger can keep up with the Queen. If she can, this will elevate her further and could see this being the match of the night. No reason for Charlotte to regain the title just yet, as we'll show later, so look for Bayley to cheat her way to a win. Next up, the only non-title match of the night, as Roman Reigns goes one-on-one with Erick Rowan in a non-disqualification match. With Roman Reigns' assailant revealed as Erick Rowan, the WWE can now focus on what promises to be a wild series between the big dog and Erick Rowan. Simply put, Reigns is at his best when he wrestles power-based opponents, and adding the non-disqualification stipulation to this match should make it even more action-packed. It should also provide Rowan with the way to defeat Reigns without making Reigns look weak and setting up a rematch for Hell in a Cell. While the mystery of Roman Reigns' attacker has been solved, there's a new mystery. What role will Daniel Bryan take in the battle between his former lackey and Roman Reigns? Was Rowan's attack on Bryan a swerve, or was it his way of cementing his status as his own man? If the attack was real, will Bryan seek revenge? It's difficult to imagine him allowing Rowan to get past on laying him out, and we hope the WWE adds some intrigue to this storyline with Bryan inserting himself into it. However, ultimately, Reigns will come out with the win, as he always does, apart from when it's against Shane McMahon oddly. Next up, WWE Champion Kofi Kingston takes on Randy Orton. The Kofi Kingston-Randy Orton war has done more than capitalize on both men's real heat with each other, dating back to 2009 when Orton squashed Kofi's chance at the main event, but intensified it thanks to Orton ridiculing Kofi's family and hurting his friend Xavier Woods with the help of the Revival. This rematch looks to be one of the rare instances when it seems as if the wrestlers really hate each other and the WWE deserves credit for it. With the WWE continuing to build up Kofi as SmackDown's #1 babyface, it just makes sense to keep the title on him. And with Hell in a Cell next up in the pay-per-view rotation, you can count on this match ending in controversy, just like their first encounter. If ever a title match screamed Hell in a Cell, it's Kingston vs Orton. Next up, Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch takes on Sasha Banks. The Boss's return to Raw and subsequent heel turn proved to be just what Becky Lynch needed after an uninspired program against Lacey Evans. For all her bluster, Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch will have her hands full against the very talented Sasha Banks, especially with Banks willing to do whatever is necessary to jump into the main event spotlight as Raw Champion. The history between Lynch and Banks could be enough for the WWE to build this match, but Banks' heel turn, as well as that of Bayley, makes for even more intrigue. Banks as Raw Women's Champion and Bayley as SmackDown Women's Champion. Look for that to happen this Sunday. And the main event is Universal Champion Seth Rollins takes on Braun Strowman. Will he or won't he? No, Wrestlelamia isn't asking whether the Beast Slayer will retain, but whether Braun Strowman will turn heel in his effort to win the Universal Championship. Strowman has the perfect opportunity to backstab Rollins during their Raw Tag Team Championship defense, and it's likely Raw Executive Director Paul Heyman sees more value in Braun Strowman as a monster heel than a babyface. With that in mind, Strowman will turn heel and look to have the title won, only for the Fiend to interfere, setting up a triple threat match at Hell in a Cell, as this match results in a no contest. But there you have it guys, our picks for all the winners at Clash of Champions. Do you agree with our picks? Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.